These are the INMO Air 3. Let me start with this. On paper, this product sounds more futuristic than it feels in real life. And I mean that in the best way possible. The first thing that surprised me the most aren't the display, the software, or even the features. It is how normal it feels to use, or rather, to wear. No cables, no phone dangling, no neckband, just glasses. That one detail is crucial, and it alone can change the entire conversation around AR. Keep that in mind as we'll come full circle by the end of this review, which this is not a sponsored one. I'm not paid for this. I do get to keep the review unit, but everything I'll share is based on my own experience. I did check in with INMO to make sure I didn't miss any technical details, but beyond that, these are my unfiltered thoughts after spending real time with the Air 3. Before we go any further, think of most XR glasses as wearing a TV on your face. These feel more like wearing an Android handheld on your face. Yes, they're slightly oversized, which you'd notice, but no, they're not uncomfortable. That was a concern of mine that turned out to not be a problem at all. Behind the lenses, you're looking at Waveguide RGB projecting the image. And look, I don't think getting lost in a deep spec dump really helps explain what this experience feels like. At the same time, I don't want to leave you missing important info, so I'll put the specs on screen, reference them when it makes sense, and let's skip the grocery list. Rather, let's just focus on cooking something that actually leaves you satisfied. Same thing with the unboxing. I'll roll some footage here, highlight what's in the box, and use that moment to introduce the accessories that pair with the Air 3. Let's start with the Air 3 Touchpad, which is included in every purchase. Think of it like the touchscreen on your phone. It's a trackpad, and tapping it is basically the same as tapping a screen. You also get dedicated buttons for common Android functions. Pairing it is part of the initial setup, and the glasses walk you through everything step by step. Now, I'll be honest, the touchpad feels borderline essential for a clean experience. You can technically get by without it because the glasses themselves have capacitive touch control on the right arm, but we'll get into that in a bit. The other option is the Air 3 ring, which can be purchased through INMO's official website, as this is a sold separately accessory. The best way to describe the ring is as a laser pointer for Android. You navigate the OS using physical movement with a small trackpad and scrolling and tapping. There's also a button that acts as back or home with a double or long press. Both accessories have their strengths and both offer light customization to shape how you interact with the system. There were definitely moments where I appreciated having both. That said, I think INMO made the right call prioritizing the touchpad as the primary included input. If you're buying the Air 3, you're good out of the box, but if you splurge on the ring, you'll probably end up appreciating how different and surprisingly effective that it is. Alright, appetizers done, let's move on to the entree. The Air 3 comes in at $1,099 USD. The simplest explanation is this: it gives you a full Android environment that appears in front of your eyes like a hologram. By default, the display follows your head movements. There's also an included app that enables up to 3 screens, and in that mode, 3DOF kicks in and locks screens in space. I won't go too deep, nor will I address the surprisingly very useful onboard AI because INMO is actively pushing updates and these apps are regularly improving. But if you want a dedicated breakdown video down the road, let me know in the comments. If you ever used an Android phone, tablet, or handheld, you'll feel instantly at home. This is Android 14 running on a Snapdragon 6 Gen 1 with 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. And this is where things get interesting. This is not just a Netflix and YouTube device. For my gaming friends watching, this can be an xCloud, GeForce Now, PS Remote Play, Moonlight, or even native Android games like Minecraft, Roblox, Dead Cell, Vampire Survivor, and much more. Retro emulation also works. The limitations here isn't options for games that you'll find plenty of. Instead, the struggles could be its runtime. There's a 660 mAh battery built into the glasses, so on screen is how long it lasted in some gaming tasks. And yes, you can tether a battery pack via the USB-C port found on the right arm for much longer sessions. Now, thermals. The left arm can get a bit warm. I personally noticed it. If you're shaved or more sensitive, INMO does include a padding strip that sticks onto the left arm and blocks that heat entirely. Personally, I didn't need it and would have kept it for a rainy day if not for me testing its effectiveness for this review, which it was. And as you can see, I like to go in depth, and if you like in-depth reviews, don't waste a second more and hit that subscribe button. Each arm has physical navigation buttons, and the right temple is also touch enabled, as we mentioned. You get left to right gesture up and down, single tap to move forward, or double tap to go back. The built-in touch controls are more for quick action. They're not really for full navigation, so you'll still want the touchpad for proper control, so that's one not to lose. Because this is Android, you can also connect a keyboard, a mouse, or a controller, which opens things up a lot for gaming and productivity. As for build quality, it feels solid, maybe slightly heavy, but not uncomfortable. You absolutely can tell you're wearing something. I won't pretend otherwise, but it's fine as it is. So let's talk Waveguide RGB. Imagine a thin layer of cellophane sandwiched between two lenses with an image projected onto the cellophane. That's not literally how it works, but it's close enough to visualize it. When nothing is displayed, it's like wearing reading glasses with a slight refraction. Think of rubbing your eyes slightly too hard, opening them, and seeing light split just a little. It's noticeable at first, but not a distraction, and more importantly, your brain will adapt quickly. Now, here's the important part. Waveguide RGB cannot produce the color black. In RGB, black is the absence of color. So if you're watching dark content against a bright background, you'll barely see anything. That's why the included shade attachment is another key accessory. Thankfully, INMO includes it in the box. Each eye gets its own screen projection, which means the Air 3 can support side-by-side 3D. Right now, that's limited to the INMO Lab app, which also shows early signs of 6DOF. It's not advertised yet, but it's clearly being worked on. Also, this thing is as private as a privacy screen protector for your phone, but rather than being black, if someone is trying to see what you see, it'll be invisible. It's quite impressive. The built-in speakers are fine, they work, but this is an area I'd love to see improved in future versions. The good news is Bluetooth earbuds pair instantly, and since this is Android with Wi-Fi 5 GHz and Bluetooth, all your usual accessories work. For streaming videos and those in the know, Widevine L3 is supported, which means services run as expected, and honestly, this is where things get wild. If you've ever gone from tethered PC VR to something like a Quest, you already understand the feeling. Being able to walk around the house with Minecraft running on your head, completely untethered, feels surreal. What surprised me most is how natural it feels to navigate the real world while something is on screen. Your brain just handles it. That said, let's be clear, I would never recommend driving, walking outside, or doing anything dangerous with these on. But walking around the house, light treadmill use, doing dishes, oh, absolutely. You can move between tasks without taking them off, without feeling disconnected from reality. The trade-off is field of view. Compared to XR glasses, this FOV is smaller. I measured it, and it's roughly equivalent to sitting 42 inches away from a 27-inch monitor. Personally, as someone who uses XR glasses almost daily, it doesn't bother me. The image quality from Waveguide RGB is convincing as long as you respect its limits with dark content. There's a camera and the bridge of the glasses. You can take photos and videos like you would on an Android phone. This is not a replacement camera by any stretch, but it's genuinely useful in good lighting. So would I recommend the INMO Air 3? Yes, with an asterisk. This is clearly a new product category that is carving its own path. The experience is convincing, sometimes mind-blowing, and absolutely hints at where this tech is headed. Compared to many alternatives, the Air 3 feels also more future-proofed. Each eye gets a screen, the operating system is familiar and reliable, and accessories already exist to enhance the daily use. But there are compromises. Battery life is the biggest one. A battery pack fixes it, but that does chip away at the magic of being fully untethered. Performance is solid, but it's not flagship phone level. Think more high-end phone from 6 years ago. Not weak, but you might crave more power at times, especially as features continue to unlock. 120 Hz is listed, but I wasn't able to achieve it yet. And honestly, even if it worked today, I'm not sure I'd want the battery trade-off. Buying the Air 3 means being an early adopter. You're stepping into some of the most cutting-edge consumer tech we've seen, packed into a pair of glasses, and somehow it still lands right on the edge of what I'd call a reasonable balance between power, convenience, and execution. But this isn't for everyone. At this price, you buy it because you are a tech enthusiast, someone who wants a peek into the future now. That's who the INMO Air 3 is for. So let me know, how would you use the Air 3? Gaming, streaming shows, social media, productivity, or just because like me, you enjoy nerding out and thinking about where the tech is headed? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's turn this into a conversation, and hopefully companies like INMO read what you have to say and help shape that future with us. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. Thanks to INMO for providing the review unit. Hit the likes if you enjoyed this and subscribe for more gaming tech reviews. My name is Clef, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.